Final Space Season 1! Spoiler alert! That's a spoiler alert, just in case you didn't catch it. Final Space Season 1. Yes, what has slowly become my favorite show. We're talking about it again for the third time on this channel because I just can't stop talking about this fucking show. In fact, we can even ask Google and she'll tell you. What's my favorite show?
I remember you told me. My favorite TV show is Final Space.
Do you hear that? So yeah, I'm super excited to be talking about this show again. We're going to be going in deep spoiler discussion here. So if you have not seen Season 1 of Final Space all the way through chapters 1 through 10, spoiler alert! I actually have a list on my phone here of stuff I want to talk about. So let's start talking about it with the first thing on my list, which was the theme song. The theme song that dun 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 boom yeah, that, I fucking love that theme song. I swear, every time that theme song started playing in the show, I was like, woo, like my heart rate just started rising, and my excitement levels just went from like here to here, and it was madness. It's like the Game of Thrones theme song, just when you hear it, you know shit's about to go down. It's awesome. I really fucking love the theme song. They did a great job with it. And that is one of the things that I do look for a lot in TV shows, the theme song, because the theme music is what's supposed to set you up for the show, you know? It's supposed to get you in the mood, get you in the moment, right? And this music absolutely does that. And overall, in general, it's a great soundtrack for Season 1. I will try and link some of the songs in the description down below because, oh my god, I was listening to some of these songs like on repeat because they were just so fucking good. So I really just want to talk about some of my favorite moments throughout Season 1. So, to get started, my first favorite moment from this show comes from episode 1 when we finally learn, well, I guess not finally because it's the first episode, but we learn what Mooncake can do. We learn he can shoot this laser out of his face. And it's epic. Gary gets ejected from the ship. There are a bunch of asteroids flying around. They're about to hit him. And then Mooncake goes out and he's like, what? And he just blows the fuck out of all the asteroids. It's epic as shit. It's a great introduction to Mooncake's character and just to what he can do and the scale of what he can do. It really is impressive. It was one of the coolest reveals ever. Because when I first watched this show, I just got the pilot for free on Google Play. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just got the pilot and I was like, okay, let's check this out. Let's see what we got here. And all of a sudden, this little cute green ball thing shoots a fucking laser out of its face and blows the shit out of these massive asteroids. I was blown away. I was so hooked from that very first episode. And then we meet Avocado, who is one of the coolest cats in the galaxy. And I mean that literally, because he's a cat person. And he is awesome, okay? He is a major badass, carries a bunch of guns, shoots everyone. Originally, he shows up to kill Mooncake. He doesn't stay that way for very long. He eventually grows very fond of Mooncake, and him and Gary go on a mission to save his son, in addition to saving the universe. And just a side note, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, because this doesn't happen until Chapter 6, and I'm still talking about Chapter 1, but oh my god, that scene where Avocado finally gets his son back, and then the Lord Commander just blows the shit out of him, I was absolutely shocked. But we'll talk about that later, because there is more I want to talk about that later. When Avocado says, there's no salt in the dark zone, I was rolling on the fucking ground. That line gets me weak every time. In fact, that whole exchange in episode 2 was fucking brilliant, and I loved it. It was hilarious. And yeah, there's no salt in the dark zone. That's all you need to know. Okay, and fucking Stevel. You want me to leave Mooncake with a guy whose name is Stevel? He literally has evil in his name. That had me laughing my ass off. That was fucking hilarious. Fucking Stevel. But Stevel in the Order of the 12 actually brings us to one of the coolest scenes in the first few episodes, which was the fight at Deathcropolis, where Mooncake has to fight these 12 massive alien-looking things, and then the Lord Commander. It's badass. I was not expecting to see an action scene of that scale in this series in general, or if it was going to happen in the series, I didn't really expect it to be that early too. So this battle really sets us up for what we can expect from the rest of the season and the series as a whole. Mooncake just absolutely rips these monsters in half, and it's actually kind of cool and a little bit reflective at times because you see Mooncake looking at his reflection in the fallen blood of his enemies, and he's just sad. He does not want to be ripping these things apart. He's just forced into this situation and kind of just dropped there like, here, kill everything, and he's got no other choice or else he's gonna die. That was a really cool scene. And then when the Lord Commander shows up with his fleet of ships, and then Mooncake is just like, fuck you, and he blasts the ships out of the sky, he takes them all out. Oh my god. That was epic. That was fucking awesome. Moving right along, I know I'm kind of just moving randomly through here, but I just wanted to touch on my favorite scenes from the show. And that scene in episode 4 where Gary and Mooncake are going to mine the sun's energy and send it back to the Galaxy 1, and they're flying through this like ship graveyard that orbits around the sun, and there's this really great music in the background. There's so many great moments with music in this show, and this was really like the proof of concept for that. Like, just flying through the expanse with these fucking broken ships flying around everywhere and just dead bodies hanging around this orbit, and there's this beautiful, beautiful music playing in the background. It was really, really very nice, and I really love those scenes, and I hope there's more of them in season 2, because they're some of my favorite scenes from the series, where we get to hear this beautiful music in the background and we see this beautiful animation on screen, and the two just kind of mold together really well to make this really excellent experience. It's very, very cool, and it's hard to describe unless you've seen it, so if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing? This is a spoiler video. You shouldn't be watching this. Okay, and Gary's hallucinations when he's at the sun, where we learn a lot about his father, who, by the way, is played by Ron Perlman. Ron fucking Perlman is in this show, because why not, I guess? But yeah, Ron Perlman is Gary's father, and he does an awesome job. And the backstory to Gary is actually really sad, too. It's another thing I wasn't expecting from this sci-fi comedy on TBS, was to have these really heartfelt, deep moments of character. And that was very cool. I was very happy to see that in this show. Chapter 5 is a big one because we learn that the Infinity Guard is working with the Lord Commander, and that they have this giant space laser and this massive action scene. Mooncake and the giant space laser. I touched on this a little bit in my review, but this is the scene where Mooncake, Gary, Quinn, and Avocado are trying to stop the Infinity Guard from opening up the hold of Final Space, and they blow up this massive space laser that ends up just getting broken off and destroys another planet that's in the gravity orbit of this planet. So the other planet that gets blown up in the sky starts falling down to the planet that Gary and Quinn and Mooncake and Avocado are on, and there's just this awesome, like, shitloads of meteors falling scene where they have to dodge through the meteors, and then the fucking elevator gets broken. The scene with Gary, Mooncake, and the space laser was just epic, and I loved it, and it was amazing, and holy shit, can we get more of that, please? Oh my god, yes. Oh, and then in the next episode, in episode 6, chapter 6, we get this really sick-ass scene of Gary and Avocado planet jumping from one planet to another. Well, first from the Galaxy 1 to one planet, and then from that planet to another planet, and holy shit, that is fucking awesome. The clouds that are circling around this planet, these are like electric clouds. There's like lightning moving through them and everything, and they're orbiting around the planet in this really cool way, and it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely fantastic, and this is another one of those beautiful melding of music and action where the two really come together to make a beautiful, beautiful scene. And this is the episode I talked about before, where Avocado finally gets Little Cato, his son, back from the Lord Commander, and also, unfortunately, Avocado dies in one of the most shocking TV deaths of all fucking time, I think. Because I was not expecting them to be killing off main characters in this show. It shocked the hell out of me, and seeing him die was one of the most heartbreaking moments of this year for me. Because in the end, he was such a good guy. He had finally started that path to redemption, you know, and then all of a sudden, just gets his son back, and then bam, he's dead. Which was super fucked up. And I was a little worried about Little Cato not filling in that spot properly, because Cody Galloway as Avocado was fucking amazing and just did an incredible, incredible job. So I was a little worried that Steven Yeun as Little Cato wouldn't do as good of a job, but he fucking killed it for the rest of the season. I mean, he absolutely fantastic job. And the scene where Little Cato is looking out of the back of the Galaxy 1, where the massive hole is that sucked his dad out of the ship, it is an incredibly heartbreaking moment, and you really feel the gravity of the situation around it. This is one of those shows that surprisingly captures the importance of characters and their deaths, which I thought was very cool. And one thing you do always have to be worried about when main characters die is main characters getting brought back to life, which I was really worried of in episode 7 when Nightfall showed up, like this really badass Boba Fett type motherfucker. She turns out to be Quinn from the future, which also really cool, but she's got like this really sick Boba Fett armor, and she's got this ship that can travel back in time, and Little Cato was planning to use this ship to go back in time and save his dad. And I got really worried at this point because I was like, now wait a second, we just saw Avocado get killed, we can't see him get brought back in the next episode, otherwise it's gonna take a lot of the weight out of this show. And they say Deus Ex fuck that shit, because oh my god, Little Kato gets in the time machine and then the fucking thing almost blows up and kills him. Luckily, Nightfall was able to get Little Kato and Kevin out of the time machine before it explodes, but holy shit, what a shocking moment, and what a great moment for killing tropes on TV. Like, bringing back the dead character, we were about to do that, but then the fucking ship blew up. That was great. I really, really liked that. It was a very cool moment and showed that Olin Rogers knows that we don't want to see things like that. We don't want to see characters die in one episode and then get brought back to life the next episode. Oh, and yeah, there's a shot in this episode, Chapter 7, where Mooncake is holding a knife in his mouth, and he's like, "Arrgh." It's fucking awesome. You just need to see it. And then in the next episode, Chapter 8, we get some really interesting backstory for the Titans, and we actually get to meet one of the Titans, Bolo. Now, this is a really great episode with a lot of really trippy visuals and a lot of really touching moments between Gary and his father, but even when we saw Bolo, I didn't understand how massive the Titans were until we see them in the last episode. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but oh my god, these things are fucking huge! Okay, but I won't talk about it yet. They look big when you see Bolo, but when you actually see how fucking huge they are, you're gonna shit your pants. Chapter 8 was super awesome. The touching moments between Gary and his dad were just some of the best, and then we find out that the Lord Commander was his dad's best friend. His name was Jack, and that's also really sad, because this little alien dude used to be a chill guy, used to be a good guy, and then all of a sudden, he's fucking trying to blow up planets and shit. Now, I haven't mentioned him up until this point, but at the beginning of every episode, there's been a flash forward, and Gary is just kind of floating out in space, and he's slowly losing oxygen over the course of this flash forward. And in Chapter 9, we get one of the most heartbreaking lines in the series in this flash forward. We hear Hugh say to Gary, "It's been an honor being your friend," as Gary drifts off into space and slowly passes out from lack of oxygen. And it is so crushing to hear him say that. Just the way he says it, there really is a sorrowful feeling in his voice that just really adds a lot of gravity to the scene, despite the lack of gravity the scene takes place in. Ba-dum-ba! I'm kidding. That's why I don't do jokes here anymore. This was a very sad moment. Just hearing those lines from Hugh had me tearing up a little bit. I'll be honest, I was tearing up a tiny bit. And then this episode, we get to see some really cool shit on Earth, because we finally go back to Earth, and Earth is fucked, by the way, okay? Even if the next episode didn't happen, Earth would be fucked, because Earth has been sucked out of its orbit from the sun and is getting sucked into final space. And the waters are being sucked off the face of the Earth and being sucked into final space first. Our buildings are being cracked in half, and everything's just going to shit. The planet is fucked, okay? Even if the last episode didn't happen and Earth didn't completely disappear and was completely destroyed, Earth would still be fucked. It would be a dead rock floating in space. It's fucked up, and it's really cool how the show just says, "Fuck you, Earth, we don't need you, we're gonna blow you up in the first season." Because yeah, that was great, okay? And then in this episode too, we also get to see Tribor, who was a very annoying character in my opinion in the first few episodes. He becomes a badass when we find out he's the leader of the fucking Resistance, and that's awesome, because we get to see this Resistance on Earth, and they actually do some really badass shit in the last 2 episodes. It's very cool, and I'm hoping we get to see more of them in the next season. I'm sure we will, because it looks like this show is gonna get a lot bigger as we go on. By the way, season 2 confirmed, hashtag 2019. And then, okay, the way back from retrieving the antimatter bomb was bitchin', okay? They're going up through water, and then the crust of the Earth starts breaking, and magma starts shooting out everywhere. Quinn falls, Gary goes down to save her, Mooncake goes to get Gary, they all get each other, they're going back up, magma's blasting all over the place, Mooncake has to blast his way through magma. We then cut to a shot of space where Mooncake's laser is just being blasted out into space, because he's blasting straight up through the magma. It's fucking epic, man. The music with that episode and everything was just on point, beautiful, amazing. And now, let's talk about Chapter 10, the season finale, because holy fucking shit. Chapter 9 ended with the Lord Commander's fleet just appearing in front of the Galaxy 1, and the Lord Commander issuing an ultimatum to the crew, just being like, "Hey, you fucking give up Mooncake or I'm gonna kill your asses," and the crew's like, "Nah, fuck that, we're fighting your ass." It is fucking epic. And then the last episode is is a massive balls-to-the-walls battle with the Lord Commander's entire fleet. There are so many epic moments in this episode, I don't think I can possibly list them all. When Hugh fires the Lightfold engine into the middle of the Lord Commander's fleet and just blows them to fuck, it's incredible. When the Rebellion shows up to fucking assist them and start blowing shit up alongside them, that's dope as fuck. Everything in this episode is dope as fuck. Kevin even gets killed, and Gary's reaction is absolutely priceless and hilarious, even though Kevin's last words are actually quite sad. Like, I was shocked at how sad I got when Kevin died, but Gary's reaction adds some nice levity to the situation. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, okay? The Lord Commander opens final space and we see this Titan arm reach out, and it doesn't grab a ship. It doesn't grab like a little thing flying in space. No, it grabs the fucking Earth. This is the Earth and this is the Titan's hand, and it just picks up Earth out of the fucking sky and sucks it into final space. I had no idea these Titans were that massive. Its hand went all the way around the fucking Earth. These things are going to be a massive fight when they do show up, and I cannot wait to see them. Possibly in Season 2, though we don't know yet. We don't have a synopsis for Season 2 yet, so I guess we'll wait and see in 2019. And then the last shot with Gary dead, floating in space, and he gets that last little moment with his dad where it looks like he gets a choice to either go back or just die and give up. And we think he chooses to go back, and then just as the credits are about to roll, we hear this like space door opening sound, you know what I mean? Like the you know, with a space door opening, and this light beams out of it. So he's about to get saved by something, but they're not going to tell us till Season 2. That is it, guys. This has been my shit ton of minutes of gushing about my new favorite show. I hope you guys liked the video. I'm sorry it was a little late because this week has just been absolutely crazy, but this was my last week of classes, so that's no longer a thing until next semester in August. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Season 2 confirmed for 2019. Yes! I will talk to you guys in the next one. Leave a like on this video if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you didn't like it. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought of Season 1 of Final Space. And as always, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Keep it kosher. Peace.